And again, J.C. Thomas, Assistant Director with the City's Development Services Department. Thank you for joining us today's webinar on how to look up projects and permits and code enforcement and zoning information in our Open DSD Acela platform. I'm excited that you joined us today. There's going to be a lot of information. You're going to get a live demonstration from Mazen Abergarbia. He's going to walk you through some of the key features of our new system and show you some of the tools that are available to you and the public on how to access this information. By way of background, we have been in the online permitting business since 2018. We initially started with our simple mechanical, electrical, plumbing permits. We introduced traffic and transportation, then we added the residential solar PV. We also launched in the year 2020. It was March. The COVID pandemic hit us all. And within a couple of months, we made available online permitting for our customers. And by July 1st, all new projects and permits had to come in through our Acela portal. It's a tool that we had been working on to introduce cloud-based permitting. We went through this process to make it available sooner than we had planned. But it was important to us that we continue to process plans and projects for our customers, which is why we use this tool faster than what we had planned and deployed it. We were still tracking in our PTS system, our project tracking system, but taking the projects and plans in digitally. And then in 2021, so this year, we got back to business of completing our cloud-based tool. In March 1st, we introduced the standalone permits. So those are the signs and fire permits. We also have mechanical, electrical, plumbing, demolition permits, and some use certificates, zoning use certificates and permits. And so those were introduced in the full cloud experience for our customers and for our plan reviewers. And then on July 19th, so just 2 weeks ago now, we introduced the large building and engineering categories. And so those are in the full cloud experience. We have discretionary module is the last piece of our puzzle. That'll be coming out in the fall. By that point, we'll have everything in this cloud permitting tool called Acela. The one important thing I want to point out is that if you started your project or if you have projects that are in the hybrid system or maybe even in paper, we still have some that are legacy paper projects, you can continue in that environment. So you will stay in the hybrid or you'll stay in the paper. We're trying to convert everyone from paper to at least the hybrid system. And then anything that is new is in the full cloud Acela experience. And I think Mazen will show you some of the data that's available to you in Acela versus what we had in the old PTS system. So what is available online? I think this is important too. In our Acela platform and also in our website, you can access our ZAP tool. So our ZAP tool, it's the zoning and parcel information. You can look up virtually any parcel in the city of San Diego by address or APN number, assessor parcel number, and pull up the multiple layers of zoning information associated with that parcel. There are even layers that are outside of the city's control, like for FEMA flood maps, for example, or airport overlay zones. We have that in our ZAP portal. You can look up the zoning information. That's something that was only available if you came into our department and looked on our PTS system and sat down with the planner. It's now open to the public. It's open to anyone to access online 24/7. You'll also see ministerial permit applications and issuances. So anything that came in the cloud-based system, you'll be able to look up that information, who the applicant is, what the process timeline looks like, where it's at in review, or maybe it's already been permitted. You'll be able to see that. Mazen will walk you through what that looks like. Inspections, you'll be able to see inspections. You can schedule inspections all through this tool. Code enforcement cases, same thing. I know a lot of customers still like to email us with their code cases or call us. They can do that. You can also look up those cases in the Acela tool. That's where our inspectors are putting in information and closing out those cases when they're closed. What's not in Acela? Well, building construction plans. So the ones that are permitted are not available to the public. You cannot go online and start pulling building plans unless it's your project. So you can do it if it's your project, if you're the architect or applicant. If it's not going to be available to you online. Same thing with the engineering construction plans and reports. A lot of those discretionary reports, they're not available online in that portal unless you are the applicant. You could still come down to DSD and view those plans. And then, of course, because of the copyright restrictions, we would only provide those duplications to you upon request, with the authorization of the property owner, the building owner, and the architect on record. So I just want to make sure that everyone understood that distinction of why you may not see attachments when you want to look at some documents, and that's because they are restricted to the applicant. But because they are also public documents, you can come in, view them, and then if you need to make a request for duplication, there is a process to do that in our records department. So now I want to turn it over to Mazen. Mazen, are you ready to share your screen and begin our live demonstration?
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
Okay. All right, the floor is yours.
Sounds good. Thank you, JC. So hello, my name is Mazen Abugarbia, Program Coordinator at the Development Services Department for the City of San Diego. During today's webinar, I'll be showing you how to research information on existing projects, verify permit information. I'll be teaching you how to look up code enforcement cases, as well as going over how to submit requests for investigations. During this demonstration, we'll be going over how to access data through two methods, one through Acela Citizen Access and one through the City of San Diego Open Data Portal. Using Acela Citizen Access is perfect if you know what you're looking for and have filters already in mind, while the Open Data Portal is perfect if you want a data dump of all permits active and historical. After we discuss these data extraction methods, I'd like to give you a glimpse of what's on the roadmap for DSD and what features and services we're planning. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and start the demo. Great. So what I'm sharing right now is the Development Services Permits and Approval site. And on the site, you'll have access to these specific resources where you can get a link to go to the Open DSD Acela login. Once you click on this link, it'll take you to Acela Citizen Access, where you'll be able to do all the filtering that I'm going to be showing you throughout this demonstration. If you haven't already created a username and password, you can go ahead and do so. It's completely free, and you'll have full access to everything that I'm going to be showing you today. So once you are logged in, you're able to go through the DSD permits module. And as soon as you go to search applications, you'll be given a general search where you could filter for records through various filters. Some of the filters I'm going to be talking about today include filtering through record type, filtering through start and end date, as well as filtering by street name, address, and zip code. For the first example, I'm going to go ahead and filter for approval types, and I'm going to filter through for, in this instance, approval construction demolition permit. As soon as you click that, it'll load for a second and give you the ability to click the search button. As soon as you do so, it's going to filter through all of the records through Acela and give you all of those approval construction demolition permit. You could see that it's filtered successfully based on this record type column. And if you do want to extract the data from here with the associated filter of just demolition permit for now, you can go ahead and click on download result, and it'll give you a CSV of all of those records. You can open up that CSV in Excel to further analyze it on your own. In addition to filtering for record type, you could also filter for start dates and end date. Right now, the start date is automatically set to be when we first rolled out Acela, and the end date is going to be today. I'll go ahead and filter for all records that have been created in the last month that are demolition permits. So starting from the beginning of July in 2021 to July 29th, 2021, I'll search using that same criteria of demolition permit. Click on that search button. Now you can see just the demolition permits that have been created in the last month. And I can click on download results. It'll take a moment and it'll download a CSV to your downloads folder where you can analyze that data. I can click on clear to remove all of the filters that I've set up and also filter by address. In this case, I'm going to set a street number 225. You can do a range here if you want to have a range of street numbers, but I'm just going to do 225 for this example, and Broadway. And I'm going to search using that criteria. Now you can see all of the permits through Acela that have been associated with that address. And I can, again, download the results to analyze my own or navigate through the various pages of all of these records. It may take a little while to load, but you'll have access to all of the data within our system through this filtering method. I'll go ahead and click clear again and filter for a specific zip code. Sometimes you may need to give it a second to load. Great. So under zip code, I'll go ahead and put 92101, search from there. And you can see there's many ways to filter for this data, and you can combine all these filters however you'd like if there's something specific that you're looking for. I'll click clear again, and I'm going to now filter for a known record number, something that I already know the record number for, and I'd like to see the specific information for that record. If it does take too long, you could refresh the page as well. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put in that record number. Click search. And if it's the only record that's found, it'll take you directly to the page for that record. So you can see here, it didn't give me a list of records. It just gave me the individual one. And I could see here additional information specific to this record. You could see it's a record for a fire permit. I can click on more details to see additional information. From here, you could see application information. This includes address validation. It'll let you know if there's any code enforcement violation cases on this site. It'll give you information regarding the historical designation and if it exists for the site, as well as geographical information. Like JC said earlier, it also includes fields that are outside of our control, like FEMA floodways and floodplains, non-coastal wetlands, and many other fields here. So this information can be very useful if you're doing some research on your own. In addition to record info, you can see here there's two tabs. Through these two tabs, you can see the record details that we just went over. You can see processing status, and on here you can uncollapse project review. And for this specific record, you could see it was ready for issuance at the beginning of this month, 7/2/2021, for a DSD fire suppression permit. You could see if there's any inspections. In this case, there are none upcoming and none completed. And under payments, you could see all fees. This one has a fee paid. You can see all the invoice number associated with that and the date for that invoice. So if the record that you're inspecting and you're logged in has you as the applicant, engineer, or architect on record, you will also be able to see a tab here named attachments, which will include documents submitted, affidavits, and reviewer comments. So that's all I'm going to be going over for inspecting permits through Acela. But before I move on to the City of San Diego Open Data Portal, I'll go over inspecting data for code enforcement within Acela Citizen Access as well. So you can see here, there's a DSD code enforcement tab. You'll find this whether you're already in the permits module or if you're on the home screen. By clicking on DSD code enforcement, it'll take me to that module where I'm able to see similar search to what I was seeing earlier with DSD permits, where I could filter by the record number, as well as start and end dates and addresses. For code enforcement, I'm just going to filter for the street name of Broadway to see all cases that are opened on that street. You can see here, it quickly pulled up all of the cases that are on Broadway, and I could see some information such as the date for the code enforcement case, the application name, the current status, and a description of what's going on. You can see some of these cases are in current and active investigation, some are closed with compliance, closed with no violation, and new cases that have not yet been given a status. Now I'm going to look into a specific case, this first one here, that's under active investigation for a zoning unpermitted grading code enforcement case. When you do so, it's going to take you into that case, and here, once this loads, you'll see a map pop up of the location. As you can see, it took us straight to that address at 3060 Broadway, where that code enforcement case was opened. You'll get that project description, as well as more details about the case. You can see parcel information for that APN number, as well as additional information like we saw earlier when we were looking up permits. Now I'm going to scroll back up, and while you're in the code enforcement module, at the top of the screen, you can see that you can click here to investigate an investigation. I'm going to go back to the home of the DSD code enforcement page, so you can see that the link to that remains here at the top, as well as down here, you can click on either and it will give you the request for investigation form where you could file a complaint. I'll go ahead and click on it so you can see what that looks like. And there you go. It'll take you back to the City of San Diego website under Development Services, so you can request for an investigation and fill in the form to put in your complaint. So that's all I'm going to show you today for Excel Citizen Access. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the Open Data Portal. On the Open Data Portal, which you can access by going to data.sandiego.gov, you'll have access to data published by various departments within the City of San Diego. This is data more than just what Development Services publishes, but also other departments as well. By clicking on Browse Data, it'll take you to the page where you can see all of those published data records available for public consumption. I'm going to show you today some of the published information that we have for Development Services. By clicking on the Development Services department, you'll see all of those published data sources. This is a growing list that we're currently expanding, but as you can see here, you have Development Services Department project approvals by status set 1 and Development Services Department project approvals set 2. I'm going to shortly explain the differences between these two and how they holistically give you a full picture of all the permits that go through Development Services. Set 1 of 2 is all the permits that have gone through our older PTS system. And for our past project, it's going to be a great historical archive. But for all projects moving forward, now that we're going fully cloud with Acela, set 2 of 2 contains all of those Acela records. So the records that we saw during the presentation of going over OpenDSD, you'll find those same records here in set 2 of 2. If you want a full picture of everything permits related for DSD, you want to combine these two data sources. I'll go ahead and click on set 2 of 2 so you could see a sample of what the data will look like. As soon as you click into this link, you'll see a preview of that table that you can get by downloading the data source. This is a short preview of what you'll get if you were to download the spreadsheet, just so you can see all the fields that are available. You can see here that you have the project ID, as well as the project processing code. You could see some dates for when the project was created, completed, as well as the scope for the project, addresses, and some geospatial information. You have your latitude and longitude here. So if you were to download this data set, you would be able to map all of these permits. You could see that there's also the APN number, as well as approval types, approval statuses, approval scope, as well as all of the approval dates for creation, issuance, when it's going to expire, and when it's going to be closed, and if it has already closed. You'll also use council district and zip code. In terms of what you have available to download, you can download all of the active approvals, all of the closed approvals, or if you want one holistic set of everything, you could download all approvals. This is a huge file, so if your computer cannot handle it, you could probably also download the active approvals and closed approvals and merge those two together. It's pretty simple. This is all the data that we have publicly available as you browse through Development Services on the Open Data Portal. In addition to permits, you could see code enforcement violations from 2015 to 2018. We're working on updating this to have more recent information. You could see project tags that you can connect to the data sets from sets 2 of 2 and set 1 of 2 for additional information, as well as much more data. And this list will be growing. Now, what I'd like to share with you is on our roadmap and is a new service that DSD will be providing in the near future. This is one of our public-facing dashboards. The dashboard that I'll be sharing with you today is still in development, but I want to share with you what features we hope to share once the tool is officially rolled out. This tool is the City of San Diego Affordable Housing Projects Dashboard. The dashboard utilizes the same data that you already have access to through the City of San Diego Open Data Portal. With this dashboard, you'll be able to see all projects going through DSD that are associated with affordable housing permits and their associated affordable units. This is the City of San Diego Affordable Housing Projects Dashboard. So with this dashboard, you could filter by Census Bureau category, number of affordable units for permits issued per year. The TBD is for projects that have not yet reached issuance. And you could filter for AMI, which is the area median income field for units categorized by each income level. You could filter using the search parameters at the bottom of the dashboard through various criteria, including geographically, by council district, and by zip code. You can see here, I could filter, and it'll quickly adjust everything on the dashboard to meet those requests. So I could see here for 5 or more family apartment that are under the approval status of issued, that are standard project processing code, all exist within these locations. And I can clear those filters to return to where I was. I can filter anywhere on the dashboard. So I want to see all affordable units that were issued in 2020, I could do so. And I can control click to see all of those that were in Council District 5. Doesn't look like there were any. Let me remove all my filters. Filter for Council District 5 again, and there you go. Looks like they were all issued in 2021. In addition to that, you can see that there's links for each project ID and approval ID that'll take you to OpenDSD, so you can see additional information for each of these approvals and projects. I'll go ahead and select one. See here, this one is titled 2015 Albatross Street. I can click on the approval ID link, which will take me to OpenDSD. And we'll give it a moment to load. There we go. See here that this is a building permit. You can see when that first inspection was taken, the BC codes, the APN, basically additional information that you didn't previously have in the dashboard. If you're interested in finding out more about this permit, you could see fees, inspections, and much more information that we have going through our Acela system. So to conclude my demonstration, I'd like to go over and summarize what we've learned today. We've learned how to research information on existing projects, verify permit information, and how to look up code enforcement cases, as well as going over how to submit requests for investigations through Acela Citizen Access. We also learned about the City of San Diego data portal and how to use it as a resource to pull publicly available information. And lastly, we've learned about what we have on the horizon with our soon-to-be publicly available dashboards. I hope this has been valuable to you, and I would like to move on to Q&A. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Mazen, just before you move on to the publicly available dashboards and we go on to the set of questions, can you, there's a question from Jerry Hall. If there's a classification for micro units that could be displayed on the new dashboard.
When we're talking about micro units, are we talking about a junior accessory dwelling units?
Jerry, would you like to unmute yourself and just ask your question?
Sure. Well, I don't know the proper classification, but I know two types of micro units. One would be like an Airbnb style where they're trying to maximize their profits, and other ones are, you know, where they're 400 square feet and they've had their minimum parking waived, like a project at, I think it's 16th and K Street. so they would be smaller units that are, you know, affordable housing, not a commercial one that's being built to, you know, like a little hotel or motel.
Sure, that's a good question. We don't currently have a way to filter by square footage of the units, but I'd like to defer to Reynard, who I believe is on this call, who could potentially provide additional information regarding that.
And if I could just add that I added a supplemental question is the ADUs, as well as if they're building the granny flats, what would be ideal is because these are great solutions to house people at a lower cost. And that I think if we were able to understand more about the, you know, the placement of them and just the you know, where we can look up the demand, it would help us decide where to you know, encourage more development of those. Thanks.
Yeah, no, that's a great comment, and we can look into adding additional functionality to this dashboard. This will be one of quite a few dashboards that we're envisioning, but this is going to be coming very soon. And as we receive feedback, I'm sure we'll be able to start to implement depending on the demand and value that we can see our community getting from tools like this.
Hey, Mazen and Jerry, I didn't hear the first part of the question, so I don't know exactly what the question was referring to, but I just want to make just one point, and I think this might handle, I think this might get to the question, but micro units, yes, that's the way we look at it is as any other dwelling unit. So that would be part of an affordable housing density bonus project that utilizes what people effectively know as a micro unit or 100% density bonus provisions. But that looks like just any other density bonus project in our system. With the launch of Excella, as part of one of the upgrades that we're putting in place is the ability for the applicant to identify what type of incentive-based program they're using. So that is in place in Excella, and we would be able to extract that data more specifically. We would be able to get a better idea of what types of affordable housing density bonus or housing streamlining provisions an applicant is requesting upfront, but that information is going to come from the applicant and then verified by review staff.
Yeah, that'd be tremendously helpful, especially to, you know, help the developers, you know, decide where to build. Thanks.
Jerry, as to your other point, this is Gary Geiler, Assistant Director. ADUs, we do have a map on the ADU webpage, on the Development Services webpage, that shows the locations of all those and what status they're in, whether an application has been submitted, if it's in review, or if it's been issued. And that has been a useful tool for the public to look at. Mazen's bringing that up. And as to the Airbnb issue, Council has not yet solidified the process for the lottery system, but once we learn more about that and the permitting requirements, that will be something also that we'll probably adopt a map similar to this to show those locations.
While Mazen is going there, there's a couple questions I'm actually going to ask Janet. You had a couple questions about records, about finding historical permits in PTS. Will those transfer over? So I know you have a series of questions. You want to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your questions?
Sure, thank you. This is Jeanette Temple. So the computers that were in the self-help area allowed us to print out comments on a project, even if we were not the point of contact. So I assume maybe you guys didn't know that, or I imagine that'll go away. But my other question is, on PTS, they moved over some of the BPIS permits that happened, you know, between 1980 and 2000. And so they were on the historical permits page. Will those get captured in Excella?
All right, Jeanette. Hi, this is JC. I'll take those questions on. So anything that's in BPIS or in PTS, our plan is to migrate that to Excella. It's going to take us some time. We want to finish our deployment of the discretionary. And we also have all of our hybrid projects that are in both places. So your documents are in one place in Excella, the information about the project status and and the workflow is in PTS. Our plan is to move all of that over along with all the historical information, but it's probably not going to happen until after the first of the year. So look toward January of 2022 for that, or sometime we'll have an announcement we have to have a smooth transition. With respect to the self-help kiosks or terminals that we had that were just linked for PTS, we currently don't have those available because the computers actually, after the COVID, we upgraded to Windows 10, like most of the private sector has already done. And those computers are no longer available on our network for security reasons. And we're in the process of making those kiosks available again to help out with the new online permitting. And it'll also have access to that old PTS data. If you were coming in to look at reviewer comments, you had to unlock those with the phone number. So we did have a security feature in that. So the general public did not have access to review comments from a reviewer unless they had the phone number of the associated contact. So if you're a contact in a new online full cloud Acela, you will have access to that. You will not have to unlock anything. You will sign into your account and be able to download those comments, or you're going to receive them by email first, of course. And then they're published in your attachments tab. If you're from the public and you want to access reviewer comments, unfortunately, you're going to have to come into the department and look at the records and be able to view those. They're not going to be accessible to the general public. Same thing with the building plans, engineering records. Those are all for the applicant and not for the general public, but we have to make them available for viewing and potentially replicating, copying if they get the permission from the applicant or owner. I hope that helps, Jeanette.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and you don't need to access PTS reviewer comments. I'm sure you know that by coming into the building any longer. You can do that from our website, and as long as you have the phone number of the associated point of contact, you can unlock the reviewer comments.
Right. And the customers will, you'll still have the list of who the customers are on Acela, correct?
What do you mean by that?
I
Can you
mean,
clarify?
as the public, if I go into PTS right now, I can find out who the point of contact is for each Acela, for each PTS project. That's one way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so when Mazen showed you that, if you look under the records and the records information for that project, you would be able to see who the applicant is, for example.
Great.
I think the one he showed may have been Bicor, if I'm not mistaken.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, JC. There may be one more question from Paul Johnson is, how do you get access to permit records for historic permit research?
So I think Gary posted in the chat, you could make an appointment with us in our records division. It's highly recommended, or you can come in. We're accepting walk-in services, and staff will help you pull up historical permit information that's available.
Thank you, JC. I don't see any more questions right now in the chat feature. So back to you, JC.
Okay. Why don't we take a minute to see if there's anyone that wanted to raise their hand and want to unmute and ask a question while we have Mazen here. He went through pretty quickly, but went through a lot of information. And I'd like to see if there's anyone that wants to ask a question.
Oh, I'd like to ask a question, but I don't know about the hand thing. I can't find it on my phone.
Well, please introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Lily Robinson.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome, please.
Oh, so so I recently got a comment back from engineering that my customer had a what is it called? A sewer easement running through his property, and he listed the map numbers. And then how would I find the sewer map numbers? Because then what I ended up doing is asking him, because I couldn't get anything back from records. I did not know the records was open because of your outgoing phone message. And also the online portal didn't seem to work for me. So he sent me screenshots or something, PDFs of the maps, but the map doesn't show my client's property. So I'm just wondering, is the sewer maps, is that part of records? You can walk in right now and just look at the sewer maps?
Yes, you can. You can do either walk-in or you can make an appointment, which is recommended, and come in and view
Yes,
the
and
maps that we have available.
I think you did. You're Scott, right? I can't see who you are.
JC Thomas. Sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Scott had privately messaged me the link, and so I can. But I did not know you were open. When did you start being open to the public? The records.
We put that in our public notice. I think that was July 19th. We put the notice out that we were open.
Yeah, I get all of those. I guess I missed it. July 19th. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I guess as a reminder about the records, yes, while walk-ins are available for records reviewing and for cashier services, the important part to note is, as for records, is that anyone with an appointment will be given priority before that walk-in. That's the important thing to remember. So if you can visit online, it's very easy to set up the appointment to view those records, and you'll be given priority rather than having to wait outside or until
Are you guys thinking about reactivating the phone number to make an appointment, or that is a thing of the past?
Well, you can call 619-446-5000 during our business hours, and you'll get hopefully a customer representative that can guide you and give you assistance. And then we do have appointments that are they can help you with, or you can make them online. I'm going to go over that in just a minute, what the services are that are available for you.
Okay, but the 5300 line doesn't work anymore?
5300 is not, yeah.
5200 was records.
Records
I called that.
Yeah, the records line should be answered and their email inboxes should be responded to. And you can follow up with me directly. My contact information will be in the chat.
Okay,
thank you. If you have any trouble, yeah. We had another question in the chat that came up. It says that you noted that we can access contact phone number. Okay. The question had to do with accessing your reviewer comments or information in Acela. And so all you have to do is log in using your user ID and your password that you created. So it'd be the one that you created with your user ID or your email and your password. And you can access all the information you need. The one I was referring to when you had to unlock comments using your phone number is on our Open DSD PTS system. And I don't know if Mazen, you have that open where you can go to Open DSD and toggle to that. You had a project that was open. I think you linked it from the, yeah, there we go. And if you could grab one of those projects, well, you just had it.
We'll give it a moment to load.
Okay. So this is where I was referring to. If you go to the project ID, go ahead and scroll down. Then you should be able to select the project ID hyperlink. Open that up and go to review cycles. These are funky little tabs, but they seem to work using our old PTS system. All of these cycles are associated with a review that may have been conducted. It could have been a full extensive review or a cycle that was open and closed. This is a pretty extensive project, but when you go to open one of those, like just pick one of those like cycles and try to open it, you can see that on the left-hand side, there's an ID associated with it. There's a discipline. So this was a combined review. There is a status, which is assignment pending, and it also has the reviewer name and email address. So this one is an open, but if you go to one that is closed, so go up above, maybe grab one of those higher up in the food chain, you would be able to go to one of the closed and actually look at the reviewer comments. And so go ahead and select the, let's see, select the closed one again. There we go. And so grab that user ID and click that link. And if you are the applicant on record or the associated point of contact and you have access, your phone number will unlock those issues and you could review them. So that's really important. That's the old system in PTS. The new one is once you've logged into your Acela account, you have your username and you're the point of contact and you have all the documents, you'll be able to access that information without going through these steps.
Hey, JC, as you're in that step right there, I think you're asking B. Bernard, if that answers your question, where he wrote, you noted that we can access by knowing contact phone number. Is that how Acela ties projects to logins, or is it be by email address, or both?
Yeah, I just addressed that to Bernard. If Bernard would like to unmute and follow up, I'm happy to answer any more questions about that. Oh, Bernard wrote, got it. Okay, great, thank you. I'm going to go back and share my screen. And give me 1 second. I want to wrap up with a couple of items of conclusion, one of which is that was talked about appointments. And so one of the things that we did during the COVID pandemic was we came up with some new and creative tools. In October of last year, we launched what's called virtual counter appointments. And as you can see that we have now a growing list of virtual counter appointment services that are available to anyone who needs assistance. And so the topics are ADUs, signs, and zoning, because ADUs is a very popular topic, and a lot of property owners want to get information before they start their permit application. This doesn't take the place of a preliminary review. You're not going to get that level of detail, and you're certainly not going to get any documentation from our reviewer staff, but what you are going to get is some general counseling and information that's available to help guide you in preparing your application. No plan permit in resubmittals. Those are done. The resubmittals, if you have a recheck, we're actually booking those on the intake side. We'll reach out to you and give you a link to set up those appointments. Those are by invitation after you've maybe made your initial application and you're missing some information. We'll sit down with you in a virtual setting like this and help you out. No plan permit, same thing. Even though we launched the new full cloud no plan permit on the 19th of July, we also offer a virtual appointment service. Downtown planning and zoning, we thought that downtown, because of its uniqueness and complexity, that we would offer a virtual appointment services for that, so you can get assistance with your projects that are in the downtown area that are planning and zoning related. Engineering a right-of-way, another important subject where maybe an applicant is sorting out what their project scope is and needs a little additional assistance. It's available to them. Historic first contact assistance. Of course, we all know what the historic is. That sector of planning is getting more complicated, not less complicated. And so getting the assistance that you need to address any historic issues is going to be important, and those are appointments are available. Landscape is one that we added based upon our customers' feedback. They thought it was important with respect to brush management issues or landscape issues that we offer a service for that. General planning and zoning. And so this one, you're going to get maybe someone who has a little bit more depth on planning issues, especially as it relates to coastal areas where you're dealing with coastal development permits or more complicated planning. That's a popular appointment. It fills up rather quickly, and I think we're booked close to 2 weeks out. Records review is in person. Traffic control is available as well. And then we have new digital applications. So if you're applying for a new permit under the new cloud-based system for building and engineering, or any of the permits for that matter, and they're full cloud Acela online, which is everything except discretionary today, and you are in need of additional assistance, bring your laptop in if you have one, bring information in if you have it, and we will assist you in getting your application up into the system. All of these appointments are generally 30 minutes. Some of them, like the digital applications, they're going to go up to potentially up to an hour, depending upon the complexity of them. But all of the other ones are 30-minute sessions with the reviewer. You do have to have Microsoft Teams. It's downloadable. It's free. You can also use the telephone number. We have offering a telephone number that you can call in. If you just struggle with the technology, you can call in and not do screen sharing. But the beauty of the Teams and the booking of the appointments is, number one, it's all available on our website. You can see the times that are available. You pick the time that's convenient for you. And then you can share information and share screens, and our staff can share their screen if they're pointing out something in the municipal code, or maybe there's a special program that's available for affordable housing, and be able to sharing that experience with you. So we're going to continue to look for opportunities to expand the virtual appointments because of its popularity and the feedback that we're getting from customers. So be on the lookout for more services that might be available in the future. More webinars. So getting a better understanding of how all this technology is changing development services. That's important to our staff. It's important to our customers and the public. So we're going to keep offering webinars that will help teach you some of the tools that we're using, collaboratively. So we're not doing this on our own. We're doing this with our customers, which is why we want to offer these short 1-hour sessions. And so the next one actually is tomorrow. We put this together and announced it yesterday afternoon. One of the challenges that we've seen is customers uploading into the new system is how to create your PDF file. So it's a fast submittal and you don't get stuck with issues related to our Scout tool that will examine that PDF file. We're going to go through, it's going to be a short meeting, 45 minutes, but I think we can cover and give you some of the tips on how to prepare your filing for when you are preparing your application. I would encourage you to attend that one or share that with anyone that you know that is having an issue or wants to learn about how to prepare PDF files. I'm going to have someone from our engineering group join me, and she is going to also teach you how to take what would be a CAD file, convert it to a PDF so that you don't have any issues when the PDF is born. So be on the lookout for that one tomorrow. We have 3 others in the month of August that are going to be related to setting up your templates on how to set your building construction or engineering templates that you will then submit for your building construction plans or your engineering plans. There's some features in there that are unique to how we're doing cloud-based permitting that you may want to learn about. And let's see. I want to say thank you for joining us today. I'll put Mazen's information on here in case you wanted to reach out to him, his email and phone number. My name is J.C. Thomas, Assistant Director with Development Services. We have a number of staff that also joined us today. I want to thank you for taking the time also to sit in, and we have quite a few customers, obviously, that joined us. Scott, I want to see, is there anything in the chat or is any questions that anyone wants to pose?
I did receive a request. If you can quickly show how customers can schedule a virtual appointment, either to come in or that, can you just, or either Mazen, just show how to get there from the DSD homepage and what maybe provide an overview
Sure.
of some digital appointments that are available?
I don't know, Mazen, do you have that up on your screen, our DSD homepage?
I don't currently have it, but I can pull it up.
Yeah. Was that a question from the chat, Scott?
No, I got it. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
There's one there. And there was another question as well from Bill Zenovec that we will get to.
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop my share. I'll turn it over to Mazen. And so Mazen, you probably don't schedule a lot of these appointments, but I'll narrate, and if you could use your cursor and we'll walk through this. So you're on the DSD homepage. There's a lot of information on here. Probably the 2 most important things are the locations and hours, although not as important as it used to be because we're an online service and you can upload your plans 24/7, but we're going to review them during business hours. But the button down below is the contact us, where you can get a list of all the phone numbers in the department. Down below, the most requested services, those blue dots, so those little circles. The most important is on the left, apply for a permit online. That'll take you to the landing page for all our permit types. But if you go, and obviously paying your invoices is the second most important and most popular thing. Scheduling inspections is the 3rd most, and then scheduling an appointment is number 4 on our list, followed by code enforcement. So if you select schedule an appointment for me, it'll take you to our, go ahead and do that, Mazen. Yep. And it takes you to a virtual counter appointment page. And here you'll find all the information you need to look at the services, prepare. If you select preparing for a virtual appointment, there's a drop down for that, Mazen, on the gray bar. It gives you some tips on how to prepare for your meeting in advance. You're going to book these in advance, and so you want to make sure that you're prepared. And go ahead and scroll down. And let's go to the digital application assistance counters. This is an in-person appointment, so it's a little unique, but they're all the same in terms of how they're presented to the customer. And so you can see that there aren't any available times right now, but if you click the arrow to August, you'll see that on Monday, so just in a couple of days here, you can book an appointment. It'll be a 1 hour appointment. And down below, you would add your details. You would put in your name, your phone number, your address is optional because you may not have one associated with the project yet. And then real important for us is the notes. And so the more descriptions you have about what it is that you need help with, it will help us out. And then you select book. Once you select book, there's two things that happen. One, it takes away that appointment time from anyone else that can book that time. So you grab the 8:30, it's now yours. And on our end, we now have it locked in as an appointment with one of our reviewers. It's seamless. And then you're going to get an email communication confirming this. And we're also going to ask you that if you change it or cancel it, let us know. You can cancel it by selecting a button on that email. Always keep those emails. Definitely save those until the conclusion of your appointment. And then when it's time to your appointment, just read those instructions again, how to prepare for that. Make sure you have your plans or your documents or your questions in advance, just like you were going to a doctor's appointment on something important. You want to make sure before you meet with DSD, you have a pretty good idea of what you want to do and what you're trying to accomplish. That'll help speed up and help provide us and provide you the information that you need to move forward. Okay, Scott.
Oh, are you also going to show us how to book an appointment for records through the website? Or
so currently those are, there's two ways you can do that. One is you would actually send a form in. We're managing those as they come in.
I have sent a form in. My client and myself, we haven't heard back in a month. So,
okay. So I could follow up with you, Lily. You can contact me directly. And
so there's no way to book an appointment, a virtual appointment with records online?
You fill out a form and they will contact you about booking an appointment.
Oh yeah, well I already did that. I thought there was something more streamlined.
So you can follow up directly with me and I'd be happy to help you out with that. Right now we're using the form system and you can also do walk-in service that's available.
Yeah, no, I want an appointment.
Okay. All right. Any more questions about the virtual counters?
Not on the virtual counters, but you got a couple, one from Bill Zenovic, and maybe he can unmute himself and ask this question about the dashboard.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. How you doing?
Good.
Okay, so when you were showing us the dashboard, the affordable housing dashboard, you took us to a link that showed the project itself, and that was the approval page that's in PTS. So is PTS going to still be up? I mean, I know it's going to be up until PTS projects are finished.
So I'll let Mazen explain a little bit more detail on this, but when you have a project that was permitted and approved all in Acela, it'll take you to Acela information. If it's a hybrid or PTS, it takes you to the old database of PTS. If we migrate PTS to Acela, you're going to see everything in one environment. And that's where I want it to be. I want to have all that information that we've collected over 2 decades and have it in one place for our customers. But right now, as Mazen showed in the demonstration, we're going to multiple environments for this data. Does that make sense, Bill?
Yes. The second half of the question was the download results. When you pull up a project and you click the download results, it was showing the results for the whole project. It wasn't showing the individual processing status results.
We're talking,
and that's what I'm looking for. The individual processing status results. Is there a way to download that?
what specific data are you looking for?
I'm looking for the current status of individual disciplines.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me, so, and you want that for not just a list of projects, but individual projects one at a time. Is that right?
Yes, because what I do is I have to process probably about 50 to 100 projects at any given time. And so I need to be able to pull the processing status of each of those projects. Right now I can do it automatically without actually having to log in anywhere. I can just go to the link with the right number and it will show me all the processing status. That way I can see, immediately where we're at with that project.
Okay, so in that case, I recommend using the Open Data Portal. There you'll have access to, as long as you have your project ID, whether it's in a previously created project in PTS or newly created project in Acela. By downloading that and creating a connection between the list of IDs that you have on your end to the data here, where you can get, I think, potentially the information that you're looking for, because we have that approval status, whether it's opened, issued, pending invoice payment. Is that a solution to what you're looking for?
No, because that's not showing me the individual disciplines.
Okay, gotcha. Let me look into that question a little bit more. We can get back to you. Feel free to email me directly. My contact information was shared earlier, but Scott, if you want to go ahead and put that into the chat to make that easier, feel free to do so.
And I'll show you what I've been doing so you can see. I'll send you an email.
Sure, sounds good.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
There's a couple of follow-up questions that I think been addressed. Can you schedule a virtual appointment to research historic building records? You submit the form and you can, that's online, and they can do that for you. From Will Chen, if we have issues resubmitting construction changes for a recently approved permit, who should we contact? For example, it says permit is not the correct type, should be an electrical permit.
If you want, you can contact me. If you have future project issues, you can contact 446-5000, 619-446-5000. So Scott, I put my information in the chat. I hope everyone has that. I don't know if it made it just to you or what, but my email address should be in the chat so that everyone can access it and contact me.
Correct.
And I'll make sure.
There for you already as well.
Okay. Any other questions in the chat?
I believe that's all the questions, but there's a lot of messages in here. So if I've skipped over one, you can unmute yourselves and ask the questions if you have any. Oh, it looks like that's pretty much it, JC.
Okay.
Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for joining us today. This was important to us to get at least some information out to you as our customers. We value the work that you're doing out in our community and appreciate you spending the time with us to learn about how to use some of the tools that are available. Like I said, we're going to be having more webinars. Sign up for our Constant Contact newsletter and also our public information notices. Scott Robinson puts those together for us, and we want to make sure that our message gets out to you as a customer so that you know the latest as soon as it's available. With that, I'll conclude our webinar. Mazen, thank you very much. You did a very nice job in presenting an overview, and we look forward to all the great work that you're doing to create those public dashboards.
Thank you.
And